Hey everyone, welcome back. It's nice to have you join me again. So today what we're going to go through, I'm going to do a little bit of a how-to guide, but a how-to guide on really trying to show which sort of shops you can buy what from. I know that the country that you usually grew up in or that you're from, you grew up with those brands and services in the country. So without even realizing it, you know exactly where to go get your cell phone contracts from, where to buy food from, what petrol garages give the best service or where to go to for what. Sports shops, gyms. It's so easy and so normal. You just know their logos, you know their brands, you know the services that you can get from them. And when you land in a different country like we did in New Zealand, the challenge is just driving around. All the logos are different, the colors are different, the names of the shops are different. So you don't know which shops to go to. Yes, you learn it over time, but I thought to try and help you guys have a softer landing, what I'm going to share today is the shops that you go to for what. And I've categorized them into different groups. So it'll be all your different food shops. It'll be where you can get your electricity service from, internet, cell phones, etc. And I'm going to break it down and work through it today. So that's really what I'm going to be working through. So I know it's not the most exciting one to go through, but hopefully it's definitely one that'll help you a little bit when you get into country, and maybe you could even prepare before you get here so that it can be a little bit better prepared than what we were and have a softer landing than what we did. So that's really what I'm going to be doing. I know a lot of you do listen on the podcast, so I'll try and explain it as best I can, because I know there's not going to be a visual because you're listening on the podcast just with audio, but I will put a link into the description. And if you click on that link, you'll be able to download a Excel spreadsheet. And on that Excel spreadsheet, we'll have the links to all the different companies and services and everything that I'm going through today. So you'd be able to open them up anyway, and you then, in your own time, look at all the different logos and everything like that. What this will also help you with, if you do go ahead and download that, you can do a lot of your research to do a little bit of upfront research. For example, when you're trying to look at what the food prices are and everything like that, I'll give you all the different types of food shops to go to. You can click on their websites and you can actually start working out a budget and what it would cost for food, for example, from the different stores. So you could use it for that. You can go and do your research around how much your electricity could cost, your insurance could cost, your cell phones could cost, all the different offers, because I'm giving you the links to all those different stores. So it can help you with that preparation too. But really what it'll also just try to help you with is just getting familiar with what shops to go to for what, and what those brands and logos and everything look like. So with that, I think I'm going to get started. I'll start sharing my screen and I'll start with going through the food shops. So give me 1 sec. Okay, so with that, let's see. You should be able to see my screen now. I'm going to start off with food stores. So the first food store that I've got up on the screen is New World. So I'm going to try and explain it as best I can, but I can only give reference to where I've come from, which is South Africa. So I'm sorry for those of you that are listening that aren't from South Africa, but at least you'll be able to hear different types of services and stores that you can go to for what in New Zealand. But I do sometimes obviously refer it back and compare back to what I know, which is obviously from South Africa. So starting with food on the screen, I've got New World. New World is where we buy most of our food and everything from. If you had to compare it in South Africa, New World would be like a Woolworths back in South Africa. Although I say I don't think anything is as good as Woolworths back in South Africa, but New World is probably what you would call the equivalent Woolworths here in New Zealand. It is rather expensive. It's not the cheapest place to buy all your groceries and foodstuffs and everything from, but we do find that the quality is slightly better than some of the other shops. Not to say that the other shops are that are bad or there's anything wrong with them. We just find that New World is a bit better. What we also do with New World is you can order online, and I think you can do the exact same for the others. But we found just to be able to stay on budget and to be able to not only stay on budget, but because you don't know all the different brands in the shops, especially when you're here in the beginning, it's nice to be able to go online, use the apps or do it via the web. And you can read up on all the different ingredients, all the different brands and everything you're looking for, and you can actually take your time. Whereas if you go into the stores for the first time, you feel like a lost fart walking up and down the aisles and standing there and looking at the produce in front of you, and people are looking at you like, what the hell? Why? Just choose what you want, man, and get going. But because you don't know what you're doing and you don't know all the different brands, it takes you so much longer. So it can be really challenging. And especially if you've got little ones as well that are with you, it's really difficult. So sometimes doing it online and doing it with the app, top tip from my wife, do it that way. Helps you stay on budget, but also helps you to do a little bit more reading and do it in your own time. So getting back to the different food stores. So New World is the first one that I've got up. That's what their logo looks like. Comparing it to South Africa, as I said, Woolworths. There is a Woolworths here as well, but it used to be called Countdown. It's now called Woolworths. They've rebranded as Woolworths. This is their logo here in the green. Woolworths, they're not bad at all. Nothing like the Woolworths we're used to back in South Africa. Just another grocery store. You can get all your different foodstuffs and everything from them. They've got their own reward systems, just like New World have and Pak'nSave have. They all have their different reward systems. Not bad. I think you'd probably compare this to like a Spar back home in South Africa. So New World is like a Woolworths back in South Africa. Woolworths is like a Spar back in South Africa. And then the next one we got here is Pak'nSave. So they're the big bright yellow. This is their logo over here, Pak'nSave. They're kind of like a Checkers back home in South Africa. Pak'nSave are more cost effective. And even when you walk into their stores, you'll see their stores are not like fancy and wow like a New World would be, or even a Woolworths would be here, or Countdown would be here. They're very basic. It's fit for purpose. You'll even see that they do quite a bit of buying in bulk as well. So even if you look at their racks and everything like that, or the shelves, you'll see they're very high shelves with a lot of stock on them, so people can almost buy in bulk. But it is more cost effective. You'll even see with their ads and everything that they're doing, they even talk to, they're not trying to be fancy like all the other food stores. They rather save you money and not waste money on that kind of stuff to be able to get you better savings and better costs for whatever you're buying from them. I did find maybe their fruit and veg and meats and stuff were not as good as what you would find from New World, in our opinion. So that's why we prefer to buy from New World. But then some people might want to go to a butcher or go to your local fruit and veg shops, and that's the way you'll do it. So you'll only go for your non-perishables at your stores. Hey, it all depends what works for you. For us in the beginning, because you don't know your way around, don't know all the different stores, generally you're going to go to one of these three big stores, be it Pak'nSave, Woolworths, or New World. That's where you'll end up going to. Especially if you're on a budget, you'll probably end up going to the Pak'nSave in the beginning. So those are the first three, and those are the logos that you're going to be looking at. So New World is all your red. New World, NW, Woolworths, or what was Countdown, is your green apple. And then you've got your Pak'nSave, which is all your black and the bright yellow. Over and above that, there are other places I just wanted to mention. So you do get a fruit and veg that's called a wonky box. A wonky box is just like in the name says, wonky. It's where they will deliver a whole lot of fruit and veg to you, to your door in a box, but it's the wonky vegetables and everything that are available for that week. So they're not quite the A grade. So your carrots might be a little bit skew, and your potatoes might be a funny shape, and your zucchinis or your cucumbers might just be a bit odd in shape. But the produce is really good. It's fresh, fresh veg, so it's really, really good, but just a little bit wonky. It's the stuff that didn't quite make the cut to either go to New World or to go overseas. So that's kind of what they do with Wonky Box, so that's definitely an option. The other one is you do get your other fruit and veg, like your Farmer's Box, same idea. This is just slightly better veg. So not wonky. You can get those delivered as well. So there's different options that you can go for as well. So that's kind of where you'd want to go with your food. Just sharing a little bit about the New World over and above the app, which is the top tip from my wife and buying online. I do know that it was really stressful for us when we first arrived here and she had to go to the store, the grocery store for the first time. It's not easy trying to work out all those different brands and everything like that. And when we arrived as well, it was just timing-wise. It had been just after the floods and everything like that, so the shelves were pretty much empty as well. It was just before Gabriella was about to hit, so it was a terrible time for us to arrive as well. You can listen to my podcast and hear all that story as well. But I think a top tip is definitely, if you can, try do it online or do it with an app and get it delivered. There is a little bit of an extra charge for the deliveries, but I think it's well worth it to be able to stay within budget, because you're looking at all the different things that you want to go actually buy, and you're not walking up and down the aisles and then putting in things that you shouldn't, because now you see it available. So it's nice to stay on a budget. Also easier if you've got kids and everything like that. So it's definitely the way to go. So food stores, New World, Woolworths, Pak'nSave, and then you can also get some other stuff delivered to you, like a Wonky Box, etc. So let's go from food stores. Next one we're going to go into is a little bit of DIY. So DIY, the two that you already want to look at here is your Mitre and your Bunnings Warehouse. Bunnings Warehouse, that's what their logos look like here. And then Mitre, that's their logo there. Mitre, you might notice if you watch the block, the Australian block, they get a lot of their stuff from Mitre quite often. So that's Mitre, which is pretty cool. But this is really just like a big warehouse of all DIY stuff, from nursery stuff, buying your plants and whatever, to getting your barbecues, getting all your different power tools, other tools that you would need, lawn mowers, gardening stuff. You can see here on the screen, it's all the different types of stuff that you would want, from your electrical, your extension cords. It's just big DIY, everything that you would want. And both Bunnings and Mitre pretty much have exactly the same things, pretty much, maybe bar one or two brands here or there. But yeah, going to either of them and looking at which ones you can get the best deals from. But that just gives you a general idea of all the different types of things that you can get from either Mitre or Bunnings. We went to Mitre and we got a lot of outside furniture and stuff from them as well. And then just all your general stuff that you would want to get, like all your electrical plugs that you want to change when you first get here. I went and got all of that from them. Yeah, that's your DIY. Bunnings and Mitre is the two that you'd pretty much want to look at there. After that, then you probably want to look at some of your appliances and electrical equipment and stuff. That's where you got Noel Leeming. Noel Leeming, bright red stores. That's their logo that you would be looking for over here. They do anything from the smart home stuff, appliances, like your washing machines, fridges, all the rest of it, but also all your digital stuff, like your cameras, your cell phones, actual buying the cell phones, your tablets, your mobile, your wearables, like your digital watches and everything like that. So yeah, they do all this kind of stuff. They're not the cheapest. I wouldn't say Noel Leeming is the cheapest in the world. But hey, when you first get here, if you really just need to get some sort of electrical, digital type of stuff, you would go here. Like USB cables, chargers, all that kind of stuff is where you'd want to go to get all this type of stuff. Laptops, earpods, as you can see on the screen, all the different types of things that you'd be able to get from Noel Leeming. With Noel Leeming, we're lucky now with the company that we're with, we get a discount. So they do associate with a lot of companies as well. So check with your companies, see if they're associated with any of the different suppliers or shops like Noel Leeming, and you can potentially get some discounts that way. But you can see on the screen, there's a whole lot of stuff here that you can get from them. Appliances wise and electronic equipment and digital equipment wise. So Noel Leeming is where you'd probably want to go look at that. Then after Noel Leeming and digital stuff, the next thing you want to probably look at is getting the house kitted with different types of furniture, or you want to look at bed linen, you want to look at crockery and cutlery and kitting out your kitchen with pots and pans and all that kind of stuff. So maybe the first place you would want to look at is the warehouse. The warehouse is, as it sounds, is a huge warehouse where they supply everything, from groceries and foodstuffs that you could get there, to all the stuff to kit out your bathrooms, to kit out your entire house, your kitchen, kitting out your bedrooms with linen. They've even got clothes and everything like that for kids, furniture, electronic equipment, laptops. They've got everything that you want in one place. They're pretty competitive with their prices. Their prices aren't so bad relative to New Zealand, so they're not too bad. This is where we went to go kit out our kitchen with a whole lot of crockery and cutlery that we wanted to buy before our container arrived. It's also where we got some, they've got their own local brands like Living Co or something, which is a little bit cheaper, works fine for us. So you can get your Living Co fridges and washing machines and all that kind of stuff if you really want to. That's a little bit cheaper, unless you, I don't know, getting stuff that's on your container and I don't know what you're going to do in the few months that you're waiting. We made sure that we weren't sending appliances across. That was the stuff we were going to buy here. It was the stuff that was irreplaceable, like family heirlooms and stuff like that we got sent across on the container, and stuff that just made it feel like home, like photos and pictures and everything that was irreplaceable. All the stuff that we could place, like furniture and appliances and stuff, we bought it here in country. It meant we could also get the house kitted out straight away. So this is kind of like warehouse where you can get most of your stuff. Definitely a store worth going to get most stuff that you would need. Another shop that you want to look to if you're looking at your beds and you're looking at furniture as well as appliances and all the rest, and clothing and everything, is Farmers. Farmers, again, not the cheapest, but definitely have a wide range of stuff that you could look at. So besides clothing and all the rest of it, they also got all your electronic stuff that you can get here. So as you can see, I'm bringing it up on the screen, all the different appliances that you can get from them. You can also get all your bedding and linen and actual beds and everything from them. That said, we did buy our beds from Farmers. Beds here are not the cheapest in the world. And they also seem to take a little while if you're buying new beds to get built up. So it can take up to a week or 2 or 3 even to get your beds all sorted out and sent through to you. So you would need either blow up mattresses or something in the interim. Or what we did at Farmers is they did have some, I don't know if it's demo or pre-built beds or whatever that they had available. So our one double bed that we bought was already made, and we got that shipped off to the rental within a day. And then the other beds we got made up and took a little bit longer. That said, we have bought a bed recently, but we didn't even go to Farmers. We went to Beds R Us, which is a bed store that's near to us. They were selling, they had deals on and discounts on, so we bought it from them. Again, it did take a couple of weeks to get built up before it got sent to us. So just keep that in mind when you're buying beds. But yeah, Farmers, warehouse, all the different types of stuff that you can think of, from appliances, electrical stuff, clothing, furniture, everything that you can think of. There is another one to mention is Briscoes. So Briscoes does sell a lot of different appliances as well. They run a lot of discounts all the time, but I laugh because they constantly seem to be running discounts. Like now it's Father's Day, so they'll run a discount for Father's Day. They'll run a discount for Mother's Day, for Easter, for Christmas, for, oh man, Halloween. They'll run discounts for everything all the time. And even sometimes when they're running the discounts, I found that their prices on discount are pretty much more in line with what everybody else is most of the time anyway. But that said, you do get a deal every now and again, so definitely worthwhile looking at Briscoes. So this is just showing you on the screen all the different types of things that they do. Even your bed linens and everything like that, you can also get it from Briscoes. So that's kind of their logo there, which is the blue and the yellow house. So that's the 3 that you'd want to look at. Just to recap, it'd be your warehouse, your Farmers, and your Briscoes that you'd potentially want to look at there. When we arrived, we got a lot of stuff from the warehouse. As I said, beds from Farmers. Briscoes we have used a couple of times now, so I bought a vacuum cleaner from them that was on discount. So they do have specials every now and again that you can definitely go and get from them. So it's worthwhile keeping them in mind as well. Okay, after Briscoes, next is to think about some sporting goods. So if you're thinking about sporting goods, you would want to consider Rebel Sport or Torpedo 7. Rebel Sport, like we were there a little bit earlier for my daughter. She needs to go get some stuff for swimming this week. So we need to go get her a swimming cap and some goggles, swimming goggles and everything. We can get that from here. You can see not only all the different men's, women's, kids clothing, sports clothing and everything that they do, but also their apparel like sports gear, running gear, all the different brands that you can think of sports-wise. But yeah, it's more around, like you can see on the screen, it's the clothing, it's the sneakers or tackies that in South African terms, or anything sporty related like that. But if you were looking to get bicycles or kayaks or camping gear, then you would probably more want to go to Torpedo 7. So we bought my daughter's bicycle from Torpedo 7. I have also bought a kayak from Torpedo 7. So that's kind of another sporting store that you'd want to get a whole lot of that sort of stuff from. You can see on the screen now, there's a whole lot of camping gear, camping chairs, kayaks, bikes, fitness equipment, clothing and footwear, snow, yeah, if you're into it as well. Like I know we're on North Island on North Shore, so there's no snow here for us for snow skiing. But further down south, there's snow skiing, so you could also look at getting all your snow gear and stuff like that. Unless you go to somebody like indoor snowing, like Snow Planet. I don't know if you're into that. So you can see on screen, that's a whole lot of stuff that they do from Torpedo 7. So that one is definitely one you would want to potentially consider for sports gear. What I'm really trying to do is I'm just showing you stuff that when you first land that you would want to or need to know about, the services and the companies that you need to go in the first few weeks, like getting your food, getting your electricity, getting your cell phones. That's really what I'm trying to show you. That link that I'll put into the description with the Excel spreadsheet with all of these links to all of these services and companies, and there's a whole lot more that I'm putting in there. that'll be downloadable and available to you. So for the guys listening on audio, you can go download that, and in your own time, you can go look at all these different links. So you can do a lot of your preparation up front when you're doing your planning. So you can get familiar with what the logos and everything looks like for all the different types of services and companies. But also it helps you when you're doing your planning around your costing. So I have done a full tutorial on the cost of living and everything here. So that's on my YouTube channel. You can go watch that. But this gives you access to all the different types of companies, so you can go looking up their costs for food, for electricity, for whatever it is that you're looking for, clothing, etc. So it just gives you a good start. So next one we want to go into is, it's pretty self-explanatory, I guess, when you're driving around, is the petrol garages. So pretty much the same as what we had back home. There's Caltex, Mobil, there's BP. There are some other new ones. So there's like Z, that we didn't have back home in South Africa. And there's also Gull that we didn't have back home in South Africa. So you can see that's the logo for Gull. This is the logo for Z. But ones we used to, BP, even in the UK, I saw BP around quite a bit. There's another one which is Mobil. Mobil, I know we had back in South Africa. They seem to fade out, and weren't as many of them around. But yep, there's Mobiles here. And then Caltex, which we had back home as well. I think a big thing to talk to around petrol garages, specifically being a South African, is you have to learn how to put petrol in your own car here and fill it up yourself. It's all self-service, and pump up your own tires. There's no such thing as petrol attendants that will help you. So I have also created a video for that on my YouTube channel, where I videoed myself showing you how to fill up with fuel and how to pump your tires. Nice thing to remember here, even with the BP, they've got apps. So when you pull up into the garage and you pull up next to the pump, you can go into the app and you can put into the app what pump you're next to. So it's pump 15, for example, like it's even showing on the screen. And you go get it all preset, get out, fill up your car with petrol yourself, walk back in, push pay, and that's it. So you don't even have to deal with anyone. So it's seriously just easy as self-service, really easy. And I'm sure some of the others might have the same. Otherwise, you can even do it self-service, where you work up to the pump and you can manually do it all yourself, self-service on the pump if you don't have the app, or you can actually walk into the store and you can go to the cashier and pay that way. So that's where to do it. But there's no tenants that'll come to you and help you fill up with fuel or pump your tires. So definitely worthwhile watching that short video if you want to know how to do that, and not be like me the first time trying to stalk and watch other people trying to work out how to actually put fuel in your car. So those are the petrol garages that you would want to look at here. Pretty straightforward with those. Banks are a big one that you would want to look at here. So the first one that I'm going to talk to is BNZ Bank. BNZ was the bank that we actually signed up with when we came across. You can actually sign up with BNZ when you're still out of country. So when we were in South Africa, we actually signed up with BNZ online, got the account opened up and all ready before we even landed in country. So we could transfer funds even across into that account when we were still in South Africa. You just couldn't draw and do any internet banking or anything until you got into country, went into the branch, and actually just prove that you are who you say you are, give them the documentation they need, like passports, proof of residence, visas, all the rest of it, so that they could actually activate your account and give you access to it, give you a card, and then you could start using your app and online banking, etc., with him. So that's BNZ that we signed up with. Other banks that you've got here besides BNZ is ANZ. So that's their logo there. I haven't banked with ANZ before, but I have banked with ASB. So this is ASB, or do bank with ASB. So ASB, BNZ I bank with. There's Westpac, there's TSB, there's Kiwi Bank. So these are just some of the banks that you got here in New Zealand. The three major ones are probably BNZ, which is this one here, ANZ, and ASB. They're the three major banks here. The only ones I've banked with are BNZ, ASB, and TSB. So those are the three that I've banked with. BNZ is who I signed up with first and who I do my main banking with now. Their app is very user-friendly. It works well. I've even got the app set up now where you've got a whole lot of sub-accounts, and you can do automation where debit orders and moves money around all automatically at different times of the month. It just makes your budgeting and everything a hell of a lot easier. So I've found that very user-friendly, and it works really well, and you can do everything on your app. I've also found with BNZ, we send money home. You can send money and do international payments from BNZ back to your South African accounts, and it doesn't cost anything to send the money back with BNZ. So BNZ works well with that. We also used BNZ and actually took out a loan with them. So I think we were here for a couple of months, and we wanted to apply for our residency, which costs, I can't remember the exact cost, but it was a couple of thousand. So I know it's not cheap, but we used BNZ to take out a personal loan. And they did all that for us quite quickly and effortlessly. So BNZ is definitely a bank to consider, and I can only talk to. ASB, look, I do some small savings accounts and everything with them. The app seems pretty good, but because I had everything with BNZ, I haven't really done much more with ASB. And TSB, they're really good with mortgages and home loans, so they can be very competitive with that in the market. They are a fully Kiwi-owned bank, so they're not owned by any other big brothers or global companies like a lot of the other big banks are global, whereas TSB is just local. So those are the banks you want to look at. I think the one that I found probably the funniest is the Westpac. So that's this red logo. And the reason I found it funny is in South African terms, Westpac back home, they're similar to what the warehouse is here. So they sell a whole lot of plastic containers and I don't know, pots, pans, and all kinds of stuff, groceries wise and everything like that at Westpac back home in South Africa. So to know that Westpac is a bank made me laugh a little bit. So those are the major banks that you would want to look at. It's BNZ, ANZ, ASB, Westpac, TSB, and Kiwi Bank. So those are the banks. And the ones I bank with currently as my primary is BNZ, which works really well. So those are the banks that you would want to consider. The next thing you would really want to consider when you get here is cell phones. So I really recommend you sign up and get a contract straight away. Lesson learned. That's the mistake we made. I know back in South Africa you could get these pay-as-you-go cell phone contracts, which were pretty cost-effective back in South Africa. They gave bundles and whatever else, so it worked quite well and it was cheap. Here we thought it would be the same, so we went into what's like called a dairy or a little cafe or a little shop where you buy your bread and milk and whatever else, and they sell the little SIM cards, and we got a SIM card. I think you could even get them when you land at the airport. There's a whole lot of little shops that you can go buy a SIM card. It's quick and easy to get set up, which is great, but that pay-as-you-go here is very expensive. And when you first arrive here, you're using your phone for everything. You're Googling everything because you don't know what anything is, using your GPS because you don't know where you're going, which is using up a hell of a lot of data. And we were just eating through the pay-as-you-go data like you wouldn't believe. And it was costing us like $10, $20 a day. And when you're paying in currency like rands, which is like so weak, it was costing us an absolute fortune just to be online. And then you would do hotspotting for your kids on their tablets and trying to use stuff if you weren't able to use the wireless in the hotels and whatever because you're traveling around. Anyway, it just cost us a lot. The point I'm trying to make is do yourself a favor, get to, like what I'm bringing up on the screen at the moment, 1 New Zealand or 2 Degrees or Spark or whatever, and get a cell phone contract signed up as quick as possible. It's quick, it's easy. Within an hour of being in the store, they give you a number, it's all activated, they've got great deals, they're not that expensive. I've done a full tutorial on the costs of living in New Zealand, which is on my YouTube channel, Soft Landing NZ. And if you go to that, you'll see I gave you the breakdown of what the costs are, including the cost for getting a contract, cell phone contract. It's probably about $45 a month or something like that you would spend. And you'd be able to get, I don't know, tons of talk minutes, text you can't use up, more than enough data. It's a cost-effective way to go. So I know I'm harping on it, but it's a lesson learned. It cost us a lot of money and grief in the beginning. So get a cell phone contract as quick as you can. 1 New Zealand is who we signed up with now, and we've got our contracts with 1 New Zealand, which works pretty well. They've got the app to manage it all. You'll find in New Zealand they do a lot of stuff over apps and managing stuff on apps, which works quite well. But that's 1 New Zealand. 2 Degrees is another cell phone company that you can go for. And you'll find they do a lot of deals. I know they did the same in South Africa, where you could sign up this contract and you can get this phone or you can get this tablet or whatever else. They do all those deals as well. But 1 New Zealand, 2 Degrees. I am going to jump now to broadband, but the other one that you can also look at is at Spark, but Spark also does broadband. So does 1 New Zealand, so does 2 Degrees. So I probably should have bundled them all together. But anyway, 1 New Zealand, 2 Degrees. Let's go to the next tab and look at the others. You'll see there is Skinny, and there is Spark, which can do your broadband. So that's internet connectivity to the home. So that's the next big one. As much as you get your cell phone coverage, so your mobile and online, you want to get your house connected, especially if, like us, you work from home. So we work remotely from home. Also, I promise you, if we had to turn off the internet, I think my kids' lives would end, especially my teenage son. Without internet, it would be the end of his world, and his gaming and everything. His life would come to an end, I'm sure. So definitely important to try get our household online. What we did is we did fiber to the home. We've got I think it's either 100 or 150 meg fiber. It might even be more. I've done speed tests before, and I know we can get over 150, 200 meg up and down, and it's uncapped fiber to the home, very stable, works well. The guys that we signed up with it's Now. This is who we signed off with, is Now. They've been good to us in the last 2.5 years. Even when we're moving between different rentals, you just give them the new address, and it's been very seamless transferring it across to the new address and getting the internet up and running. We also have had the router. I think it failed once, or it was either the router or the power supply or something like that. Phoned them in the morning, put in a call. They were there in a couple of hours the same day, got that all sorted out, and we were back online. So really good. Now is who we've signed up with. But other options now, there's also Spark, and then there's also Skinny. Skinny makes me laugh. You'll see their ads. They're this bright orange. They've got this, and I'm going to sound very South African now. They've got this old tunny as their the face of Skinny, and it's actually, I think they've generated her with AI and all kinds of stuff. It's actually quite weird ads, but they make me laugh. But they seem pretty competitive as well. So you can look at Skinny for your broadband to the home, or Now, or Spark, or as I said, 2 Degrees, I think, do it as well. So there's a lot of different options here. But these are some of the options that you can just look at, so that you can hopefully be a little bit more prepared than we were. I also wanted to share a little bit around insurance. So when you are when you first arrive, one of the things you will want to get insurance for is your car and potentially your household insurance. So what we did is we actually signed up for the car insurance when we were still back in South Africa. We were lucky enough, we were able to get the car sorted out when we were still in South Africa. So it was available when we arrived here. So I wanted to do the insurance at the same time. So the insurance that I went with was AA. I know that we've got AA back in South Africa, but this was not just AA for roadside assistance, which they do here as well. This was AA insurance. So they covered the car with the insurance. As I said, got it signed up when we were in South Africa, so we were covered by the time we got here and got into the car and drove around. When we moved into the rental, I also signed up with AA for household insurance. So they also do household insurance. If you're buying your own house, they also do landlord insurance or house insurance. So you can see all the different insurances, but it's short-term insurance that they pretty much do. They've been great to us. They've been pretty competitive compared to others. They haven't had any major issues with them. I also find at the end of the year, after having the car insurance with them, they automatically reduced it because of the car depreciating. I know in South Africa, I generally have to phone the insurance companies to ask them to do that. Here, they did it automatically, which was quite cool. But yep, there's AA. The other option is also Tower, and these are not the only options, please. These are just options that I know of, some of them that I've used, that I've put in together on my Excel spreadsheet that you can download, so you can have a whole lot of this information on that spreadsheet, like I mentioned. There's even other services and other companies that I've added on there. I'm just trying to go through the ones that I think are important for you to know about in the first few weeks of arriving in country. So the other insurance, just getting back to it, besides AA, is Tower Insurance. The reason we started signing up with Tower Insurance for my wife's car is the company that I worked with actually had deals with Tower Insurance. So we could get it a little bit cheaper. So that's why I signed up with Tower Insurance. It was pretty much competitive with what AA was. They're much of a muchness, really. So those are just two options, but they work well. Service been good. I haven't had to touch wood, put in a claim, so I can't tell you what that's like. But yeah, we're covered with AA and Tower Insurance. So those are options. And there are other options available, but those are the options that we've got at the moment. So yep, that's insurance that you've got available. I also wanted to, just talking about household insurance, I also just wanted to share, when you first get here, you are going to need to look for a rental. And I know a lot of people, even when you're back in your home country, like I was in South Africa, you could already start looking to get an idea of what it was going to cost for houses. And even in that full cost of living tutorial that I did, I talked through all your different costs and the prep and the research that you do. So one of the ones you would want to look at is realestate.co.nz for rentals that you want to do. Or maybe if you're buying a house, that would be awesome if you've got the money for that. But I know with us, it was rentals. You could go look at the rentals on real estate. It also gave you an idea of the different areas and the costs and what's included, paying upfront and putting your deposits down, or what they call a bond down, etc., paying 2 weeks up front, all that kind of stuff. So real estate is definitely a handy site that you'd want to go to, as well as the other option would be TradeMe, looking at the properties on TradeMe for rental, or if you're purchasing, this is another site you'd want to look at. I know with TradeMe, I think when we were looking back in South Africa, we could look, but when we wanted to try and apply via TradeMe, I think it was a problem. You needed to be in country with a phone number and everything. So you either had to have a VPN set up and have a whole lot of the other details. So it was a bit of a challenge. But if you're doing it while you're in country in New Zealand, you'll have all of that. So it shouldn't be a problem. But these are definitely two sites that are worthwhile: real estate and TradeMe for looking for your rentals. Maybe just, I know I've mentioned on my other podcast before with our journey here, we thought we were being very proactive, sorting out a rental before we got here and we got it all secured. But in hindsight, it's probably something that we would do differently. I wouldn't do that. We ended up not liking the area, even although we had spoken to other people and even doing the research out of country. It's not the same as when you actually here and seeing what the neighborhood is like. So we thought we were being smart doing it. Lesson learned, not so smart. I would recommend you rather get in country and really get to see the areas yourself. Look at the schools that your kids, because they zone the areas and schools together. So see it firsthand, choose your community and your area you want to live in yourself. And you may even move around a little bit. So yeah, trying to do it while we're out of country, we thought we were smart, but it wasn't. We actually broke one of our leases, which cost us a bit of money to move around to finally find the area that we're happy in with the schools that we're happy that we got our kids in. So good to look and prepare and get an idea of costs and everything else. But I think get into an Airbnb or stay with friends or whatever else first before you get your rental secured. Do that when you're in country. So those are two sites that are pretty handy. Over and above that, another one that I wanted to talk through was talking through gyms. So I know that a big thing for me in trying to keep myself sane is I need to go to the gym and let off a little bit of steam. It's not just to stay fit and healthy, but I think it just really helps me with my mental well-being going to the gym. So the gym that I signed up with is Jet's Gym. It's a 24-hour gym. I know that there are manned some of the time, but most of the time it's a non-manned gym, meaning that there's no staff in the gym. You get we started off with an access tag, but I know they've now upgraded to, again, apps, where you've got your app on your phone and you click on your app and you click on, I don't know, it's the little button to bring up the thing so that you can scan at the door and actually let yourself into the gym. So it's all manned, self-manned gyms. So a lot of stuff is self-service here. So you'll even find it with the gyms here. So Jet's Gym is the gym that I go to. Just a story on the side that I find amazing. It just gives you another idea of how trusting everybody is here and how safe it is when you go to the Jet's Gym and it's not manned and you walk in there, they've got these like pigeonholes where you put your stuff in the pigeonholes. What I mean by pigeonholes, literally like pigeonholes where you put all your stuff in it and there's no door and there's no lock, and I've seen people put their car keys, their cell phones, their wallets, their stuff in a pigeonhole, and then they walk off and go do their gym. And people walk by these pigeonholes. They've even got a space next to the pigeonholes on the wall where they've got a key holder where you can put your keys, hang up your car keys. So people hang up their car keys. It blows my mind that it's so safe just to do that sort of thing, and there's so much trust. But that's at the public gym here. Well, I say public gym, but it's a private gym, but for the public to sign up and use, which I think is just strange. But it just shows you chalk and cheese that would never work in South Africa. So Jet's Gym is what I've signed up for. It's not a big gym. It probably has all the weight section and everything that you'd need. And in the cardio section, it's got like your treadmills and your bicycles and your Stairmasters and that sort of stuff. So it doesn't have any of the studios or anything like that. So it's not like a Virgin Active. It's not big like that. If you're looking for a Virgin Active with all the different studios, you're probably going to look at something like a Snap Fitness. This is Snap Fitness over here. Also 24/7 gym, but it's a larger gym. It'll also cost you a little bit more to join this sort of gym versus a Jet's Gym. Jet's Gym, for me, it's probably cost me about $10 a week. and that is a national membership. So I can go to any Jets gym throughout the whole country, and there's quite a few of them. So when I travel down to Taranaki or New Plymouth, I can go to the Jets gym, and I have before, and that's costing me about $10 a week. Then there's the Snap Fitness. I'm not 100% sure what they costed, but I remember when I looked into it, it was a little bit more, but it is a bigger gym, and some of this stuff might be a little bit newer, but they've also got all the studios and everything like that as well. At the gym, so you can probably do yoga and all that kind of stuff as well in those gyms. And then another option is F45 training. So that's just another gym that you've also got an option for. So I've seen even in our area, we've got these 3 different gyms available. So I just thought for those of you that need gym, that's important to me in my life, I thought I'd share that with you guys as well. Another one that's also important is electricity. So when you first get here, you want to obviously sign up with electricity. And what's new for us is back in South Africa, we didn't have much of a choice. There was one provider of electricity, and they couldn't even keep the lights on. So, and I know I joke, but we had a problem back in South Africa, and I think they still have the problem where they have something called load shedding, where they just, the provider of electricity, and being that only one provider can't keep the lights on, and they don't have enough electricity literally to go around, so they shed it and they share it. So only some people get electricity some of the time while they turn off for others, and they shed and share the electricity. It's crazy, absolutely crazy. You will not have that here in New Zealand. The electricity is on 99.9% of the time. In the 2.5 years that I've been here, I think we've had one power failure, and that power failure that we had was in the middle of a cyclone. So when we had Cyclone Gabriella, we did have a short, brief power cut, and I think it was for like 10 or 15 minutes, and then it was back up and running again. So really, it's nothing like what we used to. Power does work here. There are different providers as well. I'm going to go through 3 options here, but there's so many more. So there definitely is competition here. There's different deals that you can do with electricity when you sign up for them. They'll tell you if you sign up with us, you get potentially free electricity on Saturday nights between 9 and 6 in the morning, or you sign up with us and you get a free TV, or you sign up with us and your first month is free, or whatever. They have so many different deals with your electricity. And when you move between your different rentals, you just phone them up, tell them your new address, and it's seamless and it moves across. Everything works well. So it really works well. So companies you can sign up with for electricity. So we signed up with a company called Mercury. This is this big bright yellow with this little buzzy bee as their emblem. They've been good to us. We haven't had any problems with them. They've got the app as well that gives you all your stats and everything like that if you're really into that sort of thing. But again, everything on the app. You can get your bill, your statements, invoices, everything on the app. Everything works well. You can even, when you're moving a house, you can go onto the app and state it. You can do it online or phone them. You can do it all. It's really easy. So Mercury's been good to us. Other options are Genesis that you can go to. So this is their logo here. Genesis is another electricity supplier. You see them quite often on the ads. These 3 electricity companies, again, I've seen a lot of ads on the local TV here. So that's why I've gone and shared these 3, although I'm obviously with Mercury. But you see a lot of Mercury ads. You see a lot of Genesis ads with this family over here. Pretty much talking to this little girl that uses up, she makes the electricity bill go up because she takes too long showers and leaves lights on and whatever else. And they talk about the electric cars and charging them and all that kind of stuff. So Genesis is an option here. And then another option is Contact. They've got weird ads with penguins and whatever else in it. You'll see some of the ads here I think are a bit weird. But anyway, 3 companies, Contact, your Genesis, or Mercury that you can use for electricity. So those are some of the services and companies that you can definitely look at and you would want to look at in the first few weeks of getting here. But my wife wanted me to share as well, and she's right. I remember when we first got here, we actually contacted a company called Fast Connect. This is their logo over here. Fast Connect, what they do is it's almost like a one-stop shop. We phoned them and told them, hey, we've just arrived. This is where our rental is. This is our address. We need electricity. We need internet to the home, whatever. They shop around and get you the best deals from all the different providers, and they sign up for you, get it all done seamless by just dealing with one place. So you can see here on the screen, they're associated with so many of these companies like Spark, One New Zealand. So you can talk about all your different internet to the home, Genesis, power to the home, Pulse Energy, all the different options that they've got. So you just phone them and it's a one-stop shop and getting it done. Especially if you've just arrived, maybe that's an easier way versus going to all the different other companies. But whichever works for you, I thought this would also be good to share. So yeah, the whole purpose here is I thought, let me just share a couple of shops and logos. So for those of you that watch the YouTube video, you'll be able to go and actually see the different logos and what they look like for example, food shops, like I've shared over here. I've also told you DIY that you can go to, electrical shops like Noel Leeming. I've told you all your different furniture shops like Farmers, Warehouse, Briscoes, all the different appliances and all the rest you can get from them. Sports shops that you can go to. Just talked a little bit about the garages and everything you can go to. Banking, big one with all the different banks. Your cell phone contracts and why it's important to get that cell phone contract ASAP. Your broadband or internet to the home. Spoken about insurance, spoken about where you can look for your rentals online, gyms online, and electricity, and then a one-stop shop with Fast Connect. So I really hope this has helped. If it has helped, please share it. Let's try get it out to as many immigrants as possible so we can help as many people or as many immigrants as possible have a softer landing, or at least a softer landing than what we did. So I just want to thank you for your time. Thanks for watching and listening again. And you must all keep safe, and we'll speak soon. Cheers. If you're planning on moving to or have just immigrated to New Zealand, Soft Landing is the place for you. My name is Brett Corlett, and my family and I immigrated to New Zealand in February 2023. The content on my page is designed for anyone preparing to or has just immigrated to New Zealand. Drawing on my personal experience, you will find how-to guides that will help you be better prepared for your move to New Zealand. I also share my story and personal journey so you can learn from my mistakes and have a softer landing than we did. How can you help? Subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss any new content or episodes. And by sharing it, you'll help me reach as many New Zealand immigrants as possible so we can make New Zealand home together.